And welcome back, disc golf fans, to Gatekeeper Media for the 2024 Prodigy Presents Waco Disc Golf Pro Tour highlight reel here on Gatekeeper Media.
Yeah, we're going to call this the ChaseCard Plus coverage. Going to see some excellent action from FPO and MPO from what always seems to be an exciting week in Waco, Texas.
Yeah, I'm Nathan Queen, joined by Andrew Fish, and we are going to see the Beast course here first.
And there you see our players to watch. Strong fields all around. Kristen Tatar, last year's defending champion. Whole host of players looking to chase her down. Calvin Heimberg, unfortunately, not going to be participating, but we saw Kyle Klein on the 2023 ChaseCard jumping up to a win on the Beast.
Yeah, and long off-season with a new event to start this year at chess.com. So this is the first time back at a familiar course for these players on the Beast. Kind of a 9-9 mix of wooded and open holes. We actually start on a different hole than original starting hole 1, so you can split those open holes up, head into the woods for 9 holes, and then come back out to the open.
Yeah, really great sequence and flow. Always seems to provide drama down the stretch on some dangerous closing holes. For the FPO layout, it is a par 66, just over 7,400 feet.
And hole 1 with some OB left and right, as well as just in front of you there. Missy Gannon going to start off well, getting herself inside circle 1.
Yeah, that's terrific. And using the tailwind really well. Plays the hyzer flip to glide, and then checking back into the slope. I really like the way that finishes. It kind of can't do anything but check up and stay for that putt.
Yeah, hole 1 averaging a 3.13 for FPO.
We'll cut over to Holland Handley on hole 2. That's the way to grab a bird.
And Missy Gannon back to what looks to be that same or a similar disc, going to put herself in birdie position on hole 2 as well. Did average under par for the ladies today, 3.6.
And not real surprising with the wind being fairly calm. Great putt there from Hannah Stefanovic.
Yeah, nice early birdie on what could be her DGPT coverage debut.
I think that may be right. And showing up for Prodigy. The Missy highlight's going to continue on hole 3.
Yeah, finally using a different disc on this one. Let's skip up in there inside bullseye for back-to-back holes now.
And Ella Hansen to do the same. Both of them giving the disc good height, pushing it out to the right. It's so key to land on the top of that shelf.
And Missy was the only one to end up in the bullseye there on hole 3. And keeping that hot drive going, she's going to have one of the better drives between anybody, MPO or FPO, here on hole 4.
Yeah, no doubt. Nathan, I really like the way at the Beast, there are short holes. Like, this is only 441 par 4, and players take doubles, triples, worse.
Yeah, absolutely so. As you see Holland keeping the putter hot on her round. There from circle 2.
And just like those short par 4s, kind of the rare course among DGPT events now that has multiple holes under 300 feet.
Yeah, as soon as you get into that wooded stretch we were talking about, which started on hole 4, you get to those shorter holes. And here another short par 4, 462 feet. Missy Gannon still driving straight down the fairway.
And then the kind of half throw across the valley for another park job.
Right into another short par 3. This one not quite as much to the right as hole 6 is. But that slope right there can cause a bit of trouble. Not for Paige Pierce, though.
No. And from the woods, great spin. Like, not a whole lot of arm action there, but that just kept floating.
Hannah Stefanovic back on the putting green. Another circle to make there. Jumping back out into the open on hole 13.
And a freight train in the speakers. (17), kind of a notorious hole. This can be a round wrecker. Ella with the forehand trusts the width, and the wind helps her carry back in bounds to a basically parked.
Yeah, well pinched off on the corner, but anytime you're that close on 17 for birdie, you did it right. And laying up off of the tee here on 18, she's going to make it across on the second shot.
And Ella was able to close out to jump up to the lead card with a 10:08 round, just one stroke behind Owen Scoggins. Kristen Tatar hot on their heels, and then kind of a logjam in 4th and 6th. Jump over to the MPO for a little bit. Nathan, this is going to play as a par 63 for the men, 7,800 feet. Most holes fairly similar, though.
Yeah, similar course. A few pars or a couple par 5s go to par 4. There is a brand new par 3 for the FPO and MPO, taking out the iconic old hole 15 that you see on the left side of the drone coverage here, adding a new, what would look like a wooded hole until you see all the backhand hyzers out over the water.
You know, breaking character here a little bit. When I walked up to hole 16, which we'll see in a little bit, I said, oh no, I'm going to have to hear Nathan talk about this.
Well, that's what a lefty does, right? As Ricky goes with the right-hand hyzer almost over the water, mainly only over bramble here, but gets a bit of a roll, but still going to be inside circle 1.
Do you mess around with that over-the-top shot? I know you'd be going over the other side.
No, I haven't on that hole at all.
Connor Rock playing on an early card. This is actually for eagle on hole 15. Use that tailwind to his advantage and dunks it.
Yeah, way to get it done. Big air shot, I believe.
Uh-huh. I've played with Connor quite a bit, and the power is just so easy.
And I like to see this from Adam Hammis, taking that lefty line on the left side. I got me a nice practice ace just like that. Leading up to the event, Adam Hammis going to settle for the birdie there.
And the opposite line, you see the force over from Kevin Jones. And back to the basket. What are you throwing for that left side?
I went with the Thunderbird. Depends on the wind. May disc down a little bit.
That's one really neat thing about the Beast course to me, that it's almost always upwind or downwind along the river, and that creates two fundamentally different courses.
Definitely so. You can be playing a pretty good round starting on tournament hole 1 and then come back out into a headwind once you get out of the woods.
Yeah. Your first 8 holes are all downwind or all upwind.
Yeah, pretty interesting feeling how it can change your round, and especially if you're there during a wind shift.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing some nice tee shots through these wooded holes here. Ricky Wysocki with the standstill forehand on hole 8.
It's like such a fast wrist to get high spin but low speed off of that.
Yeah, it's great how he can simplify that with just the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Not really have to worry about much else. Lots to worry about on that putt, though. He's able to connect through all the branches.
Yeah, that's big. Hole 9, notorious for that. You can be blocked out from half that distance sometimes.
And that's one of the holes I was speaking about earlier that changes to a par 4 for us. So very difficult par 4, averaging at a 4.24.
Adam Hammis with the zone on hole 10. Scoots down the backside, but very well controlled otherwise. And Conrad, this is playing into kind of a heady cross. Most players are just like throwing it super wide right of the basket on purpose.
Yeah, James going with a bit of a straighter line there. letting the wind kind of pack it down at the end with that left to right.
Zach Nash, we saw him on coverage last year of 2023, keeping up the highlights.
Speaking of last year, we've also seen this before from Jared Stoll. He's going to go up over top on 17, and I think he's going to make the putt this time, Fish.
Yeah. How many times has DGPT posted this highlight? Like 40?
Oh, man. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And every time I've heard Jared talk about it, he's like, yeah, but I didn't make the putt.
Well, now he's made the putt. He can stop thinking about that.
Yeah, grab himself an eagle on a very, very challenging hole.
Kind of coming out to the tailwind on that shot. One of the shorter par threes in the Open. Kevin Jones with the good forehand. Back to the head crosswind of 18.
Conrad had some flex on his shot. Adam that was straight to the apex before it faded. It takes so much bonus power to do that.
Yeah, fun to watch. A shot you typically see in tailwind, not kind of a...
Not a heady cross.
Yeah, a limiting heady crosswind.
Well, there you go. Some old heads, Greg Barsby, James Conrad, along with Niklas Antila, and winner of the Chess.com Invitational, Anthony Barella, going to be on the lead card at Lake Waco.
Yeah, and we will jump to that Lake Waco course now with some FPO coverage. Brand new course. Seems like it kind of grew on a lot of the players throughout the week. Again, although this one is way more in the Open, I think the wind is really going to be dependent on scoring.
For sure. And on day 2, it was pretty down. There was not a lot of wind. FPO did have to deal with a lightning delay that kind of pushed everybody back by about half an hour, but that's kind of no matter. It wasn't during the round. On this golf layout, they were able to expand outside the golf fairways, and I think that's huge for the character of the course.
Yeah, they're able to use a lot more trees than just being on the golf fairways like you were speaking about. As we see Haley King here, 3 for 3 to start the round, I do believe.
Yeah, absolutely the way to get it going.
And 4 through 5 with a big circle 2 putt there on a 340-foot hole that's probably playing a bit closer to 360, 370, playing uphill.
Missy Gannon going to get in on the action.
Yeah, hole 3, one of the more tucked-in greens, pretty blind if you don't have a fantastic tee shot.
I really liked that one as well because it was only 15, 20 feet to out of bounds, and it played quickly. You had to control your shot. And
the ladies so far taking advantage of the wind being down, just cashing some big putts out here on Friday morning.
Yeah, 45, 50 feet for Madison Walker. And now Missy to throw on hole 7. This is like the archetype of a golf course hybrid when you tuck it between fairways.
Yeah, just the clean fairway. You can see exactly the shot you're supposed to throw. The shadow of the leaves from the trees on it. Very aesthetic. Very pretty aesthetics there.
Park job for Haley King. Great check off the upslope.
Yeah, that hole 11, a bit of a strange feel. I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed or not, but
I couldn't get comfortable on it. The triple Mando wasn't the issue. It was more just like it's a low ceiling and a high floor.
Right, that raises higher after you dip down into it. Just a very strange feeling shot. Hole 12, pretty fun hole here. As Holland Hanley almost rinks it up for the eagle. Utilizing that sidearm, which does play great on this hole. This one was made for me.
And hole 16, relatively short par 4. Haley's going to play over land the entire way. And I tell you what, we've seen a bunch of highlights from Haley King, who, as I understand it, is kind of playing at half speed through an injury.
Yeah, keeping it slow and we did see her drop out of chess.com just to prevent any further injury. As you see Ella Hansen overtaking Owen Scoggins on the lead there. Kristen Tatar a bit behind, but we always know she's still lurking.
And we will watch MPO on the Lake Waco Golf Club layout. Nathan, I want to talk about a failure of imagination and marketing. I don't know if you heard anything about it, but this course was 10,568 feet, according to the PDGA Live setup, which is just over 2 miles. Why were we not talking about this being 2 miles, 2 miles, 2 miles?
Because everybody just wanted to say Lego.
I didn't hear that either. This is a lot of failures of imagination and marketing.
Yeah, but here we are, 10,500 feet. It sounds very long, but as the week went on, it did seem to be quite attackable.
Yeah, I think a lot of players were a little maybe tentative on it to start, as there were some kind of windy practice days. But on this calmer day 2, you didn't really have to test out of bounds that much in order to score. It was almost your fault on maybe 16 of the holes if you went out of bounds.
Yeah, I agree with that. Low wind, high percentage to stay in bounds. As we see a slip possibly from Joey Buckets there, but a good slip indeed. He's going to be inside that bullseye.
No matter. That dude is just so solid. Like, he doesn't have elite power. His putt is pretty good. He just has all of his spin dialed.
It's very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Every time you watch him, he does something fun.
And doing it differently than most other players.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it the most fun for me to watch, is how different it is. As that's not much different. We see those hyzers come in very
just lawn darts
pretty often. Now this is that hole 7, same fairway we were talking about with the pretty aesthetics. Our pin is pushed back up to the right. Great skip there from Ezra. Gonna get one of the rare birdie looks here.
I'm surprised to see him go the low skip shot. Most power players I saw were taking the upper decker route.
Yeah, likely what Gannon did here to get long on the next hole. But great comeback putt. Pretty scary. That same hole we just saw Gannon make the long putt on Kyle Klein.
It's a pretty good sized forehand with a crosswind trying to knock it down.
Pretty regular size putt there for Kyle Klein.
Yeah.
Seen that plenty of times.
Now Gannon from a 1'6" height, not 6'1".
I don't know. He might still have been as tall as me on his knees down there. We've got a Nate Sexton sighting, my team captain here.
Nathan Sexton?
Nathan Sexton.
Can't figure out what he wants.
Right, Terry was calling him Nathan, I believe, all weekend.
And forehand Nate becomes backhand Nate. That dude is putting together a really solid tournament in his first event back for the year. Kyle Klein on that hole 12 where we saw Holland chain out.
Yeah, not quite as good as Holland's chain out there, but he's going to have a nice tap-in birdie as Sexton looking to follow that up.
He got a good read, I guess.
Oh! And still also not quite as good as Holland's chain out there, but is drawing some metal and going to tap in a nice birdie.
And this is kind of a neat par 3 stretch as Kyle Klein prevents himself from going 100 feet long. And look at this. It is so dark. There was a weather delay. So this group had to finish about their last 7 holes with the looming threat of darkness and having to come back the next day.
Yeah, no matter there, though. He gets himself inbounds on the scary 17. Listen to this wind in Nate Sexton's face right now.
He putted it so slow. Like, that is the veteran of veterans, knowing how that putt is going to rise. I aimed my shot 50 feet left of the basket and still landed circle's edge right.
Kyle Klein, even with the double bogey there on 17, going to maintain the lead after 2 rounds.
And then jumping back over to FPO on the Beast course, I think there were some people upset that we weren't going to finish on holes 17 and 18 at the Beast for this event. But in a way, that created some drama around, let's say, the cut line, which involves a lot more people than just the win, Nathan.
Right. 17, 18, very iconic finishing holes out here. But like you said, that cut line coming into play, you know, you can finish early out of the cut line and have some people blow up on those last 2 holes and end up inside of it.
You don't wish it, but like, you don't wish it on anybody in particular, but it's like, man, I'd really like to play tomorrow.
As these ladies here on ChaseCard, definitely likely to play tomorrow, especially with the drives like that.
And Fish's fashion blog is gonna note here. Look at the difference in how players are dressed today versus on the round 1 from Thursday.
Oh yeah, we had maybe a 20-degree temperature drop. Kind of a storm blew in Friday night. Turned it into 45, 50 degrees here this morning.
Yeah, it was chilly to start. And Evelina with the park job. And on the uphill 5th, digs it into the slope, and that almost always kicks shots to the right.
Yeah, gets a little play back towards the basket on that one. Back-to-back birdies for Evelina there. Haley King following hers up with the bullseye. And hole 7, averaging right at par today for the ladies, is Evelina trying to give it a run there.
Yeah, sent it chain high.
Plenty of juice on that one.
Let's go. Big money.
Got to get a Missy Gannon putt in there at some point.
Yeah, well, what would this round be without that? And Kristen Tatar.
She said, oh yeah, I'm back.
I'm just going to go shoot a casual 1031 with a double.
Just great comeback after, I'm sure nobody was very nervous, including her. But she was a few strokes down after that second round, able to come back strong there. Going into the 3rd round again, kind of thinking about not finishing on 17-18 here for the guys.
Yeah, for sure. The wind was up quite a bit, so I don't know about you, Nathan. I was really thinking about trying to get as many in the bank as possible before getting back to those more dangerous holes.
Right. The wind was up a bit and opposite from the first day that we were out here as well. So coming back to those finishing holes, you had a headwind coming out and tailwind kind of on 17-18, making you a bit more uncomfortable as far as you haven't played it that way this week.
Yeah, no doubt. Gannon Burr says L2, 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 and his disc will curl. And Nathan, I got to tell you, I've thrown this shot twice ever, and they've both been in tournament play, and I've birdied the whole both times. I have no explanation for that. It's just like that Taily cross seems to line up for it.
Yeah, good forehand hole. The way the hill slopes, you kind of get to stay below the wind a lot of the time with that shot. It's Gannon with a massive drive up there. Just a little flick of the wrist upshot.
This hole is so easy when it's a tailwind and so hard when it's a crosswind. Sexton with a much more technical forehand to
and
late flip.
Super aggressive play here, lacing it down the fairway.
Last year I got a 42 footer. I hit the top of the basket.
Well, you
That's
heard it
not
from
quite the 42-footer, but wow.
And I neglected to mention, round 1, Jake Wolf aced this hole with a forehand, hole 5. His first tournament ace.
Greg Barsby also going forehand on the hole. Just barely misses the box, but does catch the tree behind it.
I played round 1 with Gannon, and he made a 31-footer and wandered over and said, that's the longest putt I've made in a tournament this year. And then proceeded to nail like 8 35-footers right in my face.
Got him going. I don't believe him, though.
I think it's an exaggeration, but it's annoying when he's motivated to do that.
Hit something hard, so that's good.
See the contrast in styles here as Sexton goes forehand, Mason with the drifting backhand.
Yeah, and they left the grass long here in the woods this year, kind of minimizing the skip that you would typically see. That might be what caused Mason to go long rather than end up short. Wanted to make sure he got there, able to capitalize.
And hole 7 looks like a terrible tee shot, but a great recovery from Gannon.
And what looks to be a good sit as well, hitting those railroad ties and sitting down instead of rolling back to the bottom. Sexton still showing off that forehand, going to utilize that tall grass and make sure it doesn't end up sliding down to the right.
And that was going to put him 7 through 8. Definitely getting him in the bank before playing back into the headwind beginning on 9.
Yeah, 7 and 8, 2 holes you definitely want to get before heading into 9. Both playing, one playing half a stroke under par, one playing over a quarter stroke under par. And Greg with a putt from a knee uphill.
That's not Greg. That's Gannon.
Oh,
we
that
talked
is
about
Gannon.
this. He's just going to make everything.
Same initials, you know.
And good approach on 10.
And Gannon's still making everything.
Don't know how it went in.
As Mason Ford knows how that one went in. He had to really stretch out on that one.
Gotta holler at this. That's his 8th straight birdie to put him 9 through 11.
And that's what you got to do out here to make some moves on what is effectively moving day in this 4-round event.
Yeah, very much. Like, at this point, these guys don't have to worry about the cut line. They're thinking, how can I make a play to win the tournament?
Mason Ford trying to do that, giving himself another birdie opportunity here on the 14th, where we saw a Scott Stokely ace this year.
Oh, man. That guy is so hyped about that. Like, it was right as spectators were gathering to watch lead card and stuff. So perfect timing for Scott.
Yeah, some people got to see it. Go back and watch a replay if you haven't. You can just see the joy exuding from him. It's pretty great.
Yeah, turns out he really does love disc golf. It's not an act. So here's that hole 16 we talked about, Nathan.
Yeah, brand new righty hyzer you got. There's a gap that they've affectionately cut out for everybody to go around.
It's a really good walking path.
I did get the birdie through the gap in a practice round. Couldn't transfer it to the tournament, but I went 3-3. Happy about that. Didn't ever go out over the water, not once.
I appreciate that spotter talking to me about ska music for about 20 minutes at the Fly Mart. I always want to talk about that.
And one of the better drives you're ever going to see, regardless of if ska's going on or not, there on 17, as Nate Sexton gets past those two trees. Moves us into 18 with a tailwind today, so more attackable, but also causing people to push along maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I saw Barsby after he threw that and said, like, all these kids just jacking hyzers and you decide to be a win genius. So he threw like a 168 12 speed.
OG Barsby.
And that kept Barsby in a tie for 5th going into the final round, but only 2 strokes back of the lead. Gannon Burr, however, did jump up for a share of the lead going into the final day at Lake Waco. And Mason also on the lead card.
Yeah, so now that we have finished up 17 and 18 here at the Beast for the weekend, how you feeling going into Lake Waco to finish?
For me personally, I made the cut, and this field was so tightly packed. Like, there was some separation between 1st and 10th, you see, but I was 4 strokes out of 10th place, and I was 3 strokes away from missing the cut entirely.
Yeah, very tight. Strange to see the evolvement of all the young players coming into the sport and how much harder it's become on the Pro Tour to be able to make that cash line.
Yeah, no doubt. I think 10:22 was the cut line. And, I mean, 3 or 4 years ago when you and I were kind of starting to tour, geez, that would have had you in 15th place?
Top 15, certainly, yeah.
And the same thing is true in FPO right now. Like, I think there's a very clear top 5 or 6, but that middle of the pack is cutthroat.
As we get into this final round, Sunday morning, had some more weather stuff going on today.
Yeah, for sure. Fortunately, with smaller field, it wasn't that intrusive. But there was some concern over whether we were going to get to play, right?
I may have made that up. I think it might have been a different round.
Maybe just all the... I think we have like PTSD of all of the weather delays, and they just like run together, and we're scared that every single round is going to have that.
Right. Yeah, I think I was thinking of the second round when it turned out to be a nice day, but there was a few weather delays.
There you go.
This was just fully nice day, low wind all day long, a little bit cooler as well, not as cool as Saturday.
Yeah, you see long pants, long sleeves at least. And Hanley's driving is usually what keeps her in the ball game, but right now, dropping big putts.
Yeah, I love watching these Circle 2 putts here, starting off the round hot. That's a scary putt. There's OB 12 feet behind this basket.
Yeah, that comes through with any speed missing the basket. Henna Blomroos on a very, very technical and challenging par 4. This is one that players, I think, hated and then figured out and kind of liked.
Yeah, so it does play as a par 5 for the ladies, so that's going to put her in opportunity to lay up for the easy birdie, which you see her pitching up to now, even playing as a par 5, 0.44 over par. So maybe some of them figured it out, but definitely not all of them.
Yeah, it can stack up on you pretty quick. Well-controlled shot. Just going to check past the basket for Blomroos. And Luca. Yeah, drop in.
Yeah, skip up and curl right around it. One of the better birdie opportunities on the day. 32% of the field carding the birdie there on hole 7.
Another scary downhill look.
Yeah, back out in Circle 2 for Holland Hanley.
That's like 5 steps from circle.
That's the comfort zone for her today. Here's a tee shot. This is where we're used to seeing Holland from.
And out of frame and back in.
Yeah, going with what looks to be a faster disc to try to slide up that low ceiling, high floor type of hole.
And on to the 15th. Blomroos showing the bonus power. No danger of coming up short onto the golf green.
And Owen Scoggins from Circle 2, something everybody's quite used to seeing. Able to get that putter up and over the rim. And here is the other play we saw in the second round. Haley go over land the whole time. Here's the other play on hole 16, throwing a hyzer out over the OB on that second shot.
Yeah, well executed. No danger of 12ing the hole. And a great close for Holland Handley. That actually brings her back to solo third place. Super solid tournament for Holland.
Yeah, and as you might have expected, or all of us might have expected, especially after that third round, Kristen Tatar hangs on to that lead. Great finish by Owen Scoggins as well to jump into second place. Holland Hanley and Evelina Solonen rounding out that top four. Moves us into the final round of MPO, the new Lake Waco course. Just like FPO, we've got calm conditions again, something I doubt anyone really expected for this final round.
No, not in Central Texas in March. Like, historically, that has been irregular. And I really like this drone shot of hole 2. It shows how dangerous the water carry is.
Man, 400 feet just about on the nose to carry that. And as early on as the round hole 2 is, that can really be the momentum for your round, whether you execute on hole 2 or not.
Absolutely. And Niklas Antila did execute his tee shot, and now his second. And look how quickly this green plays as well. I imagine you were playing over the out of bounds and then bringing it back, but most of these righty backhand players have to land the shot 70 to the right.
Yeah, and Casey White likely short there to avoid that big skip, but able to connect on that big putt, circle 2.
Do you think he chose his own outfit today?
No. I have no idea.
Once again, Fish's fashion vlog. Greg Barsby on the third.
I think Greg probably did choose his own outfit. Gonna go big hyzer here on hole 3. A little bit too big, but still inside circle 1.
Yeah, that's great. And his drive did not put him in a great spot. You'd like to be able to throw something slow up here.
Speaking of slow, that very long putt from Niklas had just this slow pace to it. Beautiful putt there.
I gave up on it halfway there.
Stock hyzer.
Yeah, it's kind of like everything that flashes past the basket looks like an ace run here.
So this hole is one I didn't realize that righty hyzer line was there.
Oh, no.
Greg Barsby doing what he does there. So I thought I kind of had a hole here. I could throw a hyzer up over the top on the left side.
Yeah.
Righties had to hit this gap. But nope. They still have the righty hyzer over there.
Or they had the layup and the 110-foot throw in.
Yeah. That's the way to make the highlight reel.
Tell you, I love playing with Greg when he gets on a run like that, where he can just nose up stall everything to the basket.
Casey White keeping the putter going strong. Another circle 2 make. And this is a hole that likely didn't have many circle 1 opportunities.
Ooh,
as we see Casey White.
I did. I'm a power guy now, apparently.
Yeah. Power over top.
Yeah.
There you go. Big circle 2, Niklas. Closer than the last one we saw.
Yeah, for sure. And having those circle 2 looks, 1 or 2 around is something you need on this course to stay in contention, because you can throw the ball really well and still end up with just circle's edge looks at best.
And we saw that big sidearm from Kyle the first round. This time he gets it even closer. As Niklas has gone long. Gonna float in that slow circle 2 putt yet again.
Yeah, no matter.
Just on a roll with the putter.
And after big downhill drives, Niklas plays backhand flex, just clearing the out of bounds.
And putter keeping them alive. Keeping them with a chance for this as he stretches to the left to get just underneath that tree. And again, with the wind down low, this hole's going to be playing easier than I think course designers would have expected it to.
Yeah. I think they were envisioning the drive being much more challenging to put yourself in an attackable position, but just the way the hole played, there was so much incentive to try to attack on your second, never lay up on the second.
Well, I said that before I looked at stats. It did play at a 4.8, so it still played pretty difficult.
Great drive on the 14th.
Yeah, this is one of the holes I was a little upset that I wasn't able to get the birdie on this weekend. Just a pretty straight, straight at it type of shot. Low ceiling.
And
well executed there from Niklas.
Nathan, it's kind of turning into the Niklas Antila show right now for good reason.
Yeah, he's making a run at the lead and may be in the lead right now, actually.
And this actually tags the out-of-bounds barricades and comes back in.
So I played with Niklas the first round.
Was he getting bumps like that?
He got some stuff like that the first round
on.
for sure. He knew about it, though. He told us about it. As a beautiful kick there he's going to take advantage of. Get that birdie there on 15.
And that would be his 5th in a row. And being 3 holes away from the leaders.
And a mistake here.
Yeah. 17, kind of iconic on the course. And trying to avoid the blow-up mistake of missing right, actually misses left. So now that drops him back to 36 under par. He's got about 25, 30 minutes to wait for the lead card to come in.
Yeah, these are some nervous times sitting right there. That's
He's due. Niklas has been getting so close in so many big events lately.
Yeah, he's feeling that. He was right there at it. Gannonburr had to birdie the last hole to avoid a three-person playoff with Niklas and Luke Humphreys. What a finish with the brand new course this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like it doesn't matter where we put it. Waco delivers.
And deliver indeed. I had a great time out here watching and being able to play again in all of this. Just a beautiful time out here in Waco, Texas.
Yeah, no doubt. And you see Evelina Salonen and Gannonburr hanging on to first place in the DGPT standings. This was an Elite Plus event. Prodigy presents Waco. So worth a little bit extra in the season-long standings. We're delighted to bring you this action on Gatekeeper Media's coverage. Please like, share, subscribe. Help us keep putting out great content like this. For Nathan Queen, I'm Andrew Fish.
We'll see you guys out there.